All right, you feather merchants. This story is going to be about Marine Corps boot camp back in 1961. I got out of high school in 61 and I joined the Marine Corps. I joined it on a 120-day delay program. And what that meant is you sign up, go down and pass the physical and everything, and get sworn in. And 120 days later, you report to wherever they're at boot camp. And so you got all summer to think about what you just did. Anyway, they flew us out there to San Diego. I flew from Chicago. We stopped off at Denver for a layover. Excuse me. And I remember getting off the plane and I vomited because I knew I'd heard enough stories. I knew that this is real serious what I was about to face. And because I had signed up 120 days ahead of time, I had the seniority of the rest of the guys coming out of Chicago, and the recruiter gave me all of the paperwork for everybody, and so I was tasked with giving that to the drill instructor when we got off the airplane. And this isn't what I wanted to do, because I was told by friends of mine, they said, whatever you do, just don't do anything stupid and don't do anything real outstanding. Try to blend in with everybody and do not volunteer for anything. It'll be a trick. So anyway, so now I know the drill instructor, I got to talk to him. He's going to know who I am right away. Well, anyway, we get off the plane, get on a bus, and the drill instructor's on the bus, and he told us, you got gum in your mouth, you spit it out. And he didn't want to hear a sound out of any of us. And as far as he was concerned, we were all maggots. And so we had a silent trip on the bus to San Diego boot camp. And when we got ready to get off the bus, he said all he wanted to see is assholes and elbows, and yelled, "Move!" And so when we jump off that bus and we're running, and the drill instructors are yelling, and anyway, we get they're processing us, cutting all our hair off, giving you clothes to wear, and they a lot of yelling and screaming. And I remember the first night, it wasn't on our regular Quonset huts. We stayed in some kind of a barracks the first night, and I remember as soon as I lay down, I went to sleep, and you didn't wake up until they started screaming. And when we took a shower, if you anyone that walked like next to the drill instructor, and if you didn't say, "Sir, by your leave," he would beat the fuck out of you. So right away I knew it's just better to avoid these people. Try not to walk near them if you possibly can. Well, anyway, the first 3 weeks, well, we got assigned to Quonset hut, and we had 3 drill instructors, senior and 2 junior drill instructors. Senior drill instructor had been a World War II vet, and he fought in Korea. The next in line was he had fought in Korea, and they claimed that they had fought in the Chosin Reservoir, and one of them helped carry the other one out of there. That was when the Chinese completely surrounded them, and MacArthur said, no, Chesty Puller said, they have Chinese flanking us, behind us, and they're trying to cut us off. And he says they're not going to get away this time. Well, anyway, that was a big battle. So we get settled, and the training was, boy, I tell you what, it was real vigorous. A lot of running, classrooms, you're learning a lot of stuff real quickly. And I was kind of flying under the radar, doing okay until my third week. And we had our first inspection. And I remember a captain inspecting the squad I was at, and it was a drill instructor, our junior drill instructor. He had a clipboard, and he was standing there next to the captain. And the captain asked me something about my general orders. And it was actually, you have general orders, you're supposed to memorize them. Well, I wasn't particularly used to following instructions. I was like a behavioral problem in school. Like I said, before I did really well in kindergarten, but from first grade on, all the way till I graduated, I was a behavioral problem. But anyway, there's no room for behavioral problems in the Marine Corps. And he asked me what my one of my general orders, or he might have asked me two of them, and I couldn't. I told him I didn't remember, and I could see the drill instructor glaring at me, and I knew that was the start of my problems. So the inspection's over. We return to the Quonset hut, and sure enough, they announced my name. They called me to the duty hut. And back then, all the recruits, if they heard the drill instructor say something, they would repeat it. So you get the word for right away. So anyway, I show up in front of the Quonset hut that the drill instructors are in. There's a screen door there, or you can see them inside. And I knock on the door. And actually, it was on the side of the door. You'd knock. And of course, they can't hear you. And they would say, "I can't hear you." Well, you knock until your knuckles are going to be bleeding pretty soon. So they told me to enter, and we had a certain way to enter. You take a couple steps in. If you did everything right, you end up standing in front of their drill instructor's desk, and you request permission to speak to the drill instructor. Except they never gave me a chance to do that. They grabbed me and they threw me up against these wall lockers, and they were punching the shit out of me. No headshots. It's all body. The only thing is, when I was in high school, I boxed in the outside club, and they used to make us lay on the concrete floor and drop a big medicine ball on your stomach. I mean, my stomach, no one could punch me in the stomach and hurt me. So anyway, they're real serious about this. And they told me that I wasn't allowed to march with the platoon anymore, because they said, "You are a shitbird and stupid, and you're going to march behind the platoon." So I thought, oh, shit. This is not good. So I go back to the Quonset hut, and sure enough, for the rest of the morning and then part of the afternoon, I'm marching behind the platoon. And other drill instructors, when you're out there marching behind the platoon, they know you're an idiot, and they'll use you as a punching bag. Well, anyway, I endured this till I can't do it anymore. So I thought, I'm not going to do this, and I went back to the duty hut, and I knocked on the side of the door, and of course they couldn't hear me. I beat on that thing. My knuckles are bleeding, and they asked me to enter, and I entered the duty hut, and I apologized for what had happened, and I told them, I said, it'll never happen again. I said, I just want another chance to be part of the platoon. And they looked at me and they said they'd give me another chance, but they're just going to give me one more chance, and that's it. From then on, I'll tell you, it was I did not screw around. If they told you to memorize something, I memorized it. And what was coming up was we were going to the rifle range real soon, and that's a big thing in the Marine Corps. You got to be able to shoot. I mean, if you're in the Marine Corps and you can't shoot. You are a maggot. You're a useless piece of shit, you know. And they have their firearms instructors. I mean, they're the best. They'll spend a week in learning how to fire those weapons. And actually, you know what they do? This is interesting. We would shoot from the 2, the 3, and the 500-yard line. There was no scopes back then. It was all iron sights. And I remember being at the 500-yard line, and you're in a prone position, but you didn't want to look at that target very long because it would disappear. It was like it was so small in your sight alignment. But basically, you learn how to breathe, and you learn how to align your sights on the target, and you squeeze that trigger. And you don't know when the rifle is going to go off because you're squeezing it. Unless you jerk the trigger, then that's a big mistake. But what they do, they gave us a small booklet and with a pencil, and they would be right behind you. And from 500 yards, you'd fire that round off. And you were required to mark on the target exactly where that bullet hit that target. And if you did everything right, you squeeze the trigger, what's going to happen is the last thing that you see when that round goes off, that's going to be where the bullet goes. And I had this down to science. And they'd be waiting. And you'd mark on there, and they would look on there. And when that target came up, and if that marker was in the wrong, a different place than the mark that you put on your target, you'd be punished for sure. And I remember one guy, he kept shirking the trigger, and I thought, oh, this guy's in for it. And what they did, they called him into a duty hut. And we were living in tents back then, and we went to a different camp. It was within running distance. It's a couple miles right there at boot camp. But it was, we lived in tents. And the drill instructors called him in, and they gave him a cigarette lighter, and they made him hold his trigger finger out like this. And they made him take the cigarette lighter, light it, and hold it under his finger. And he burned his finger. I mean, it made a blister. And that way, they told him he would remember as soon as he touched the trigger, he remembered that he's supposed to squeeze it and not jerk the trigger. And anyway, so we're shooting during the week, getting ready for the qualification day. And some of the guys, they were really shooting good. We had some guys who were shooting high expert. I was shooting well, but I wasn't in the high expert. But anyway, as every day progressed, my scores got higher and higher. And then it's qualification day. And qualification day, I remember, the drill instructors, sometimes they'd be yelling, and all that was background noise. I didn't hear anything. I just concentrated on shooting from the 2, the 300, and the 500-yard line. And I ended up being the highest shooter in the platoon. I shot expert. They even gave me a trophy. And the senior drill instructor, he had told us, he said, whoever the highest shooter was, he was going to make PFC out of boot camp as long as he was an average Marine. And only 10% could make PFC out of boot camp. And I made PFC out of boot camp. And what an experience that was. I mean, like today, they have a lot of recruiting problems. There's a lot of young guys today. They're not physically fit. Back when I was in high school, almost everyone was physically fit. You didn't see very many fat kids. They're used to running around. I mean, when in gym class, I remember I could sit on the floor and I could climb a rope right up to the ceiling from the setting position, right to the top without nothing. It's like the obstacle courses and that. It was nothing for me. I was already in good shape, but they take it to another level, you know, as far as your physical fitness level. Anyway, I just thought I'd share that with you guys. And you know, another thing I saw today, people are real sensitive today. Young people, they get offended. They get offended easy. When I was in boot camp, that was I never saw anyone get offended, and they did. They used physical force on you. It's not to hurt you. It's just to get your attention, and they would. Boy, I tell you what, they would get your attention. They got my attention. I mean, it turned my life around. It's like I went from being a behavioral problem to being a lethal weapon, and I really liked the Marine Corps. It was good. Anyway, I just thought I'd share that with you, feather merchants, and I can't make too long of a video because I know there's a lot of guys out there in YouTube land that have short attention spans. So I'm just going to cut this short. All right, you feather merchants.